Okay, that's
Cool.
all I had for you for the pregame. So, what do you got for the viewers for the regular show, sir?
Hey, no, I like it. It was like a good pre-show match. That was good. So the first thing I kind of wanted to bring up was something that happened. I know you're not the biggest NXT guy, but that's something we'll get into at a certain point. I feel like that's my new mission, is to get you into NXT. But something that happened on NXT was another one of these. I don't know if we'll call them the Tony Khan specials, where it's who did he fumble that's looking bigger and better and more of a star in WWE. For this week, it is Ricky Saints and Shawn Spears. So Ricky Saints had a little sit down with Vic Joseph, and then Shawn Spears came in, and they had a good little face off and made a few little sly references, like Spears saying that Ricky's burnt every bridge and that he can't go back to where he came from, and which everybody thinks is AEW, but it also can mean NWA, which I thought was great. But what ended up happening was Ricky went on commentary and made a reference when this situation was brought up. Ricky made the reference that, oh, it's just another Canadian to add to the list of people that hates me. And everybody thinks he means Edge, and I fully agree with that. Because obviously Edge called him a vanilla midget, and they had that moment, which I think might have been on Rampage or Collision, which the clip has gone viral, but no one actually watched the show because nobody watches those shows. But anyway, I think also, too, Chris Jericho was part of that. I really think that Chris Jericho, because they had their moment where they had a feud, and then that should have continued, and it just kind of ended because that's what happens with Jericho. And then remember when Ricky was seen at the Royal Rumble, and I think it was with Chris Van Vliet. He had the interview where he said, somebody said, oh, it's not a good look to be there. And everybody just assumed Dax, which I fully understand because that sounds like Dax, but I feel like that was Jericho as well. And I think that's where that all stemmed from, because that is that time frame. January of that year was when he and Jericho were having their feud, and then all of a sudden didn't. So that's just something I wanted to bring up, because I feel like no one else has said Jericho in that. And I feel like Jericho Hogan has struck again. Well, tried to strike again, but now we have Ricky versus Shawn for the North American Championship on NXT on the CW, which will draw 100 to 200,000 more viewers, no matter how good the views get for Tony's product and Dynamite going up. That'll be bigger for NXT. So that was really what I wanted to bring up initially, because I feel like that's something that hasn't been brought up.
Interesting person to me. Like in AEW, he did the chairman gig, right?
Yeah. He's still kind of doing that. He still does the same entrance. Well, he did until he got his little faction. When he was solo, he still came out like on the chair with the lights and doing basically the same gimmick. I feel like his gimmick right now is player coach. Like, clearly they've got him there where he can still do in-ring stuff because he still has the ability and the skills, but he's had a wrestling school. He is the school with Tyler Breeze, right? I believe that's his school.
I think that was it.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure that it's him and Breeze, and we know Breeze is working in the PC as a coach, and I feel like that's what Spears is doing. Like, he's there to help get people over, teach people, have some good in-ring matches. Probably end up like he might lose the title in this match here. I would think probably not. They'll probably do some kind of screwy finish or DQ or something, and maybe Ricky wins the NXT North American Championship at Stand and Deliver. That'd probably be a good.
That's kind of where I was going. Because I noticed that some of these guys from AEW are coming over and they're taking lesser roles, but they're getting better with the lesser role, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. It's kind of like proving that, because I feel like that's the biggest thing coming from AEW is that with the inmates running the asylum, are you willing to it's almost like in sports where somebody goes from a manager who is willy-nilly and doesn't care and lets the guys get away with whatever, and then going to, I know they just changed the rule recently, but like going to the Yankees where they've got to shave and they've got to wear suits and some guys thrive in that and are ready to take the coaching and the discipline and move forward and show what they can do. And not everybody is, but I feel like the people, I keep bringing him up, but Lexus King, he's the prime example.
That's where I was going next.
He came in and did jobs. He came over as a complete cornball douche character with that silly. He still has the silly facial hair, but now it's part of his gimmick, and it just works. And he did that promo. I think they might have been in Minnesota where he did because that's where Pillman Sr. died, and he did a promo. He wasn't even on it was one of the named shows that they had. I forget which one it was. Someone in the channel or someone in the comments will let me know which one it was, but he cut a promo outside, like in the cold where you could see his breath, and about how what he wants to be and what he wants to get out of it. And like after that 2 minutes, I was like, he's got it. And from that point on, he's now, the Heritage Cup champion. Some people say he's not that great in the ring. I think he's fine and only getting better. That's my point of NXT that I keep bringing up about what I enjoy about the most is you can watch people get better. And I know people are like, oh, but it's on TV, but it's TV, but it's separate. It's like almost college basketball versus the NBA, to make a timely reference to March Madness that's going on tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Arkansas lost.
Oh shit! I did say, hey, U of A lost too. So that's it. It happens. I forgot. I did see that. I saw that it was apologies, but hey, I mean,
it happens.
Right? I always feel like as long as you can, I mean that tournament's, especially now with the teams as they kind of gotten they've gotten more even in a lot of those spaces where, before we were kids, you never saw as many upsets as you see now.
So with AEW getting rid of some people coming up from what we heard, you think the NXT is going to get some more folks joining?
I mean,
they got to go. They really got to go there first, right? To learn.
I think so.
I mean, you can't.
And first off, let's just clarify what you say. Get rid of. They just don't re-sign because Tony's too much of a punk to, have the conversation and let somebody go. There's a couple people obviously they have with Phoenix and Miro, but I feel like that's everybody, because everybody always complains about WWE cutting the roster and doing the 90-day no compete clause, but people forget they're paid their regular salary during that 90 days. Yeah. They're given time to figure their stuff out, get things financially set, make sure they can book themselves on the indies. Matt Cardona can show you exactly how it should be done, of how you're fired on a Tuesday and by Thursday you're booked for the next 6 months after your 90 days.
It's not the end of the world.
No, it's really not. And as WWE has shown, if you go out there and prove yourself, they will bring you back and put you over and put a title on you. But when you say people coming over, there's certain people I think that should, but then also too, I mean, where's there room for people? I mean, there's already people that aren't getting enough time. But I mean, when you think of Mariah May is the big story that people hear because her contract's coming up. I've heard that it's funny. You hear that Jamie Hayter is or is not been released, or has not been released, or has visa issues. She's the one those are the two that are most intriguing to me. I mean, whatever happens to Britt Baker, a female talent. Yeah.
Yep.
Because Britt Baker, I don't know. Right? She had her moment. I don't know. I don't think she should just stay
take that chance.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, unless you give her the lowest level developmental contract, because I believe she has moved her dental practice to Florida. I don't know if it's Orlando, Jacksonville, whatever, but either way, at this point, I would look way more into Jamie Hayter or Mariah May, because both those ladies have shown they have talent. And Jamie Hayter clearly just got, to make a bad pun, she got punked because she said anybody be stupid for not listening to CM Punk, and she's been on TV, I want to say twice since that moment. Whenever she said that.
Did she say that before or after All in London, where they just brought her back in the middle of a battle royal, whatever the hell they brought her back in? Remember?
Yes. I feel like she said that after. I feel like it was more recent than that, but I could be wrong.
So they botched that from the beginning.
Oh, completely.
Okay, so it's really not anything to do with It's a more thing to do with stupidity.
No. Well, they botched it, but then they just I'm just talking about when they just took her off TV and they haven't done anything. because they botched it, but at least they were trying to like put her into something. I mean, that was also the same show. I mean, with Ricochet. I mean, they had Ricochet debut in the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal. Like, that's not where it's not the Royal Rumble. Like, I get it where they were trying to, like, oh, we're having a debut like it's the Royal Rumble. No, that's not the same thing.
That's kind of how like did Jamie Hayter too, the women's thing, right?
Yeah, something like that.
There?
It was some kind of multi-person something.
Yeah, and they brought her right in the middle, like it was nothing.
Yeah.
It was stupid in front of a hometown crowd.
Yeah, I feel like their reference point was, hey, we're trying to be like the Royal Rumble, but I could be wrong.
So she'd have to come. She'd have to come to NXT just to learn how to do TV. Same with the other one you mentioned. They have to come in the WWE way.
Yeah,
they have to.
Right, but I think they would both be, and they're both young enough, and if they got good, and there's clearly good coaching, where they would be fine. Who are some of the other talents that might be in that times that it's, because I've heard different names, but I can't remember any of those. Are the two that stood out the most to me, especially with how the women's division is not only on Raw, SmackDown, but NXT. I mean, the NXT women's division is probably the best in the business right now.
NXT's women's is the best, better than Raw, better than SmackDown. I think that's
from top to bottom. I feel like the top end with like Rhea and Bianca and Liv and Io, like the top end, is better on the main roster, but top to bottom on NXT, you really you can't go wrong with any of them. And but also too, you have like Stephanie Vaquer and Julia, who they're not long for the NXT roster. That's why they're being pushed the way they are now, so they can move their way up.
And replenish the stock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so you're gonna have you got Rey Fenix coming. He'll go right up. In a perfect world, you might have Wardlow, maybe Hobbs. I'm speculating, of course.
Yeah, well, Phoenix we know is going up because he's definitely. We've seen the vignettes. Like I know the ones that the other vignettes they're doing. It looks like Malachi Black, and it probably is Malachi Black, but the other ones are definitely Phoenix. Like they showed his chest tattoo. Like that's right. Which I think they're just going to call him Phoenix because everyone's like, oh, you can't have two Rays because that's how Vince operated with that. And I get that. You don't want multiple repeating names, but they did it. They were fine with just calling Penta. You could just call Phoenix. They could be Penta and Phoenix, the Lucha Bros, whenever they reunite for next year's Mania. It'll be perfect.
Yep. Yeah. My big dude, Wardlow.
Oh,
I don't know what his contract status is, but he can't have much longer.
Well,
he's been with them from the beginning, right?
Well, he didn't sign with them from the beginning, but I know he was out there almost initially with MJF because I remember when he signed. They made a big deal of when he quote unquote signed when he broke away from MJF, but he had really signed with the company before that. But still, you're absolutely right. The issue with him, and I feel like I brought it up on the Spaces show actually too, is I'll actually put that back up while we're just kind of chatting in case people want to join a conversation with us. But the thing about him is I remember he might have re-signed in like 22 or 23 because again, what I brought up on this page, he grew up so poor and he was able to get the money to help out his family, but he hasn't been injured during most of this or all of this time. Like, I don't think they can add time to it. So hopefully they figure it out and either the contract runs out or Tony. I mean, he has been letting people go. Wardlow's of anybody who could be a success with good coaching and in the WWE system. I don't think there's anybody that I would, if you're going to do like a draft, your number one draft pick. I mean, Hobbs might be right there with him too.
All you gotta do is book him right. That's it. You don't gotta do anything.
They had him booked right. They had people chanting with him. They had him doing the Goldberg chant. They had him exciting. He beats MJF
with 10 power bombs, 6 power bombs,
however many it was. It was the right amount. Like it got him over. And then they had him feud with freaking the lawyer Mark Sterling and 20 security guards. Like the next time we saw him.
That's right. Yeah.
And from that point, and that was what, 22? Like from that point till now, it's just been horrible. If they had him then team up with what was it? The Cole's group with the Devil. They did they had
Oh yeah, he
the,
did.
The feud with Samoa Joe. The matches were the cutting the hair thing was dumb, but they made it almost work because Samoa Joe is the number one talent in that company that can make things work. But oh god, where I posted it was either yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday from one of the college basketball games. There was someone dressed as Wardlow in the crowd that he posted. I grabbed the picture and reposted. Where's Wardlow? And I tagged our video that we put our clip of us asking where Wardlow was on the Spaces show. But it's just getting sad because everybody else has been let go. They let Miro go. They let Malachi go. They let Ray Phoenix go. And Wardlow's like, please, sir, I'd like to go home.
Yeah, Wardlow's last match was televised March 13th, 2024.
March 13th. So we are a year and 2 weeks. He has not been seen in 54 weeks.
He was sidelined after the match in September. How was that? March 8th? Well, okay.
Wait, what?
This is what it says.
Yeah.
His last match on TV was March 13th. Then he was sidelined after the match in September. And in September of 2024, it was stated that he had a knee injury.
Was that written by Dave?
No, this is Grok.
Oh, okay. Well, it's close enough then, because I feel like Dave probably uses AI in a lot of his writing. But even if he did get hurt for a period, like he's been healthy for a while. God, I didn't realize it's been March of last year since we saw him on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, as we're recording right now, that is a year and 2 weeks and a day. Like, good Lord. That's just sad. That's just sad. Because anybody who really could get themselves over and but he's still young enough. I mean, what's he in his early 30s? And somebody at that size with good coaching, I mean, he could easily do this for the next 10 to 15 years and be fine.
Imagine a Wardlow that actually has some training and going against Braun Breaker.
Oh, well, what I said on our last Spaces show, get him to NXT, get him some training. Wardlow versus Oba Femi. Give me that Haas fight all day long.
It's got to happen soon. Wardlow's 37.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. Get him. Oh, if anybody's in Guantanamo Bay, I didn't realize. I thought he was 31, 32.
No, he's closer to 40.
Wow. And still, though, with the way I know he keeps his health and like modern technology, he'll be. But no, yeah, he needs the coaching. Oh God. Now I feel real bad. That guy needs to get out of there like yesterday.
I hope. We'll see.
Yeah. No, we will see. We will see.